Hello, this is my podcast for my ELA class, where I'll be talking about my survey responses for my form that multiple students filled out at JCCC for their knowledge on drug usage, what they know about because there's a drug rise. There's a large drug rise in Kansas City that I made for my project, and then I made a survey. Going to talk about the responses now. I try not to talk too long about each question. I got like 6 questions, but I will talk about them each. Not for very long though, don't worry. The first question I asked was, would you agree that you know someone that has used drugs or does drugs on a regular basis? And the options for each of the questions are strongly agree, somewhat agree, disagree, and strongly disagree. So 5 options, like 1 through 5. I forgot the name of the scale, or like the certain way of doing that, but 1 through 5, strongly agree to strongly disagree. And no one put strongly disagree, which I thought was interesting. 33% said they agree they know someone who has used drugs or does drugs. Strongly agree was 45, was the biggest. Somewhat agree was 3%, and then disagree was 18.2%. So like 80% estimate was about people said yes they did, which I thought was interesting. So shows the prominence of drugs if they know someone who has done it or used to do it or does do it. Do you think there is pressure? Question 2, do you think there's pressure for adolescents to do drugs in our culture in today's age? I got more of a variety. We had 27% say strongly agree, 24% say agree. So that's about 50% right there, 25. Then 30% said somewhat agree, with only about again, so mostly it was 30% somewhat agree. So some people say there is sort of, most people say 50% said yes or very yes, like we agree, and 30% said somewhat, so a little less prominent on that question. But okay, for question 3, I had actually 4 responses. It was like a multiple choice question. It was, who taught you about the dangers of drugs? And it was either A, middle school, B, high school, C, parents/guardians, or D, no one. And almost 60% said their parents taught them about drugs, which is nice to see. It's probably the most reliable and supportive way of learning about the dangers of drugs. 9% actually said no one taught them about the dangers of drugs, which is a little higher, honestly. It's higher than people who said high school, which was 6%. They said no one. And then last 30% said middle school. Well, it's like 27%, but yeah. So it was high school at about 58%, middle school 27%, no one at 9%, and then high school at 6%. And then, I forgot to really mention, but this was taken with about 33 responses out of the whole JCCC college. So data can vary, but like this will kind of give us an idea. So it's not like 100% of all students ever. You know what I mean? It's not 100%, like I said. Question 4, do you think some drugs should be more legal in certain states, like marijuana is legal in Colorado? And there's more variety on this one, but like more for each chunk kind of has its own big piece, but the strongest is 33% strongly agree is 24%. So basically over 50%, probably like that's like 55% said they think it should, 15% said somewhat agree, and then disagree was 15, and strongly disagree is 12. So, but it was more. Usually it's like agree is 50, there's 15 in the middle, and then like 27%. That's pretty big chunk saying they shouldn't think it should be legal. And then question 5 was kind of the opposite. end of the spectrum is, do you think drugs should be illegal everywhere? So just every drug illegal. And people, they kind of did different answers. Strongly agree, disagree is 27%, and disagree is 36%. So it's about almost 60% said drugs should not be illegal everywhere. And some people said 9% strongly agree, 12% agree, 15% somewhat agree. So a lot of people were more leaning to the drugs should not be illegal everywhere because of some other stuff. Like there's nuance. Like some drugs should maybe be more legal, and they're like, yeah, we should allow that, but we also shouldn't let every drug be legal. So it shows the nuance, and it's a very different situation. But then to wrap this up really quick for this podcast, do you think some drugs, question 6, do you think some drugs like marijuana, opioids, should be used in medical practices? Because those are some drugs that can be used in medical practices. And sorry, I'm just going to move the camera a little to see the results. Sorry about this. I'm going to move it over here. And 33% said somewhat agree. So people said in the middle, they're like, maybe, I don't know. But it was mostly yes, strongly agree, 30%, agree, 27%. And then only a total of 6.1% of combined was disagree and strongly disagree. But 33% somewhat agree is like, people sometimes still don't know. So yeah, it kind of shows more the nuance and the problem of drug usage and the rise of Kansas City. And again, disclaimer, this is not 100% official, but like it's only 33 responses. Just letting you guys know. Thank you for watching my podcast.